Well, here on Earth in Birmingham with me now is Salma Yaqub, former leader of the Respect Party, who is now head of the Stop the War coalition here in Birmingham.
That is a hell of a resume, and we're off to the races, everybody. I mean, imagine if somebody handed you that at a job interview. Oh yeah, I can see here, yes, very good. This person is a fully qualified piece of shit, yes. Stop the War coalition, proud terrorist sympathisers these days, so that's good. Oh, and the Respect Party, full house. The Respect Party, ladies and gentlemen. So she's a disciple of Darth Galloway, the founder of that party, the guy who went to Iraq after the annexation of Kuwait, and instead of kicking Saddam Hussein squarely in the nutsack on behalf of humanity, decided to do this.
Sir, I salute your courage, your strength, your indefatigability.
Pull your tongue out of my arsehole, Gary. Dogs do that. You're not a dog, are you, Gary?
No, he's a cat, don't you remember?
Now, would you like me to be the cat?
Good pussycat, yes. Good pussycat.
So this woman's already lost all credibility and hasn't even opened her mouth yet. And I blame the interviewer, to be honest. Give her a chance, mate, please. Next time, just read out her name.
And Jahan Mahmood, a former government counter-extremism advisor.
More on him later.
Salma, I'm wondering, take it from Paris, and then the vote in Parliament, and then, of course, the outcry from Mr. Trump. What sort of effect is that having on people here in Birmingham?
That question sounds like it was written by a dyslexic chimp. Paris, vote, Syria, Trump, people, all react fifis, question mark? What are you talking about, man?
Well, it's a really, really testing time, a very frightening time, and a time where people are really scared to talk, because it's a place now where things can be so easily misunderstood that people are frightened to talk about how they're feeling.
People don't seem very frightened, to be honest, based on the background noise. It sounds like just a standard night out in Birmingham. But if you're misunderstanding the current political situation, then let me lay it out for you. Members of your religion have declared war on humanity. And those of us with the capability and an ounce of self-respect are fighting back. In self-defense. But listen, if you feel embarrassed at being associated in some way with the people we're fighting, then I'm sorry about that. But you could always remove the headscarf, stop believing in fairies, and join the 21st century. It would be great to have you.
And what about the vote, for example, on Syria? Did that exacerbate things, or that just went by on the nod?
How would a successful vote to begin bombing ISIS exacerbate things? Surely it makes things better. I mean, here we go, right? This is his opportunity now, as a moderate Muslim, or whatever he is, to come forth and say, no, it doesn't exacerbate things. ISIS don't represent me, or Islam, or any Muslims I know. They are a tiny minority of heretics, and the sooner they're destroyed, the sooner we can get back to rebuilding the reputation of our religion. That is what I would expect of this guy, and I'm sure he's going to deliver for us. I can feel it in my bones. Come on, buddy. I'm counting on you.
No, I think it made things worse. I mean, foreign policy has been a major player in the radicalization of young Muslims. And the Syria vote, what we don't understand and what we'd like an explanation from 10 Downing Street is that on 4 October 2015, the Prime Minister said that Russian bombs will further radicalise and increase terrorism. However, on the 25th of November, he's calling Jeremy Corbyn and other MPs who opposed the Syria strike terrorist sympathisers.
Oh yes, I was wondering when the excuse turd of foreign policy would finally plop its way into the punch bowl. Right on schedule. Fighting ISIS creates ISIS, does it? What is this, a game of fucking whack-a-mole? It has nothing to do with the fact, of course, that the people who went to join ISIS already had strong ideological sympathy with them. No, it's our fault. We made them. The evil infidel. They were basically what? Fluffy teddy bear Muslims that we transformed into vicious mass-murdering maniacs. Fine. Let me accept and run with your ridiculous premise for a second. I have a message to all those people, to all those British Muslims who feel hard done by our society and want to go and join ISIS. Leave. Please go. Get on a plane and fuck off to Syria. And we will give your resources, your passport, your house, your job, etc., to people who actually want to be here and contribute to our society. Oh, and one more thing before you go. The RAF is coming to get you. Bon voyage.
The halal butcher down the road. Will they be drawing those inconsistencies to my attention?
Well, no. I mean, across society you have people at different levels of thinking, so you can't say that. However, the hypocrisy is there to be seen, and any kind of recruiter could quite easily use that to exploit young people, and that's where the argument lies, is that the government is not consistent and doesn't follow up with its own ideals, but expects Muslims to fall into place with them. Simple.
What have we got here? A fucking comedian, private joker. I admire your honesty. Hell, I like you. You can come over to my house and fuck my sister.
Oh my god. So this guy's whole thing is, and presumably was when he was counter-extremist advisor to the government, which is a fucking terrifying reality for all the children listening, his whole shtick is, base your foreign policy on whether or not it will offend the most backward and barbaric Muslims in your society, because hey, if you do something they don't like, they might blow you up. Is this guy for real? Can we get an effigy of this man and burn it over the Houses of Parliament, please? Guy Fawkes night, after November the 5th, November the 6th, burn this prick day. I've forgotten his fucking name, but burn him. An effigy, obviously. I'm not advocating going out to actually burn him. That wouldn't be good. That goes without saying.
Put up your hand and say, I swear I won't kill anyone.
I swear I will not kill anyone.
Well, I think when it comes to foreign policy, it's not just Muslims who have an issue with it. As a citizens, many people have demonstrated against the war. In fact, the largest demonstration in British history was against the Iraq war. But what's happened is it has become an identity issue in the way the government talks about Muslims. And that's what's frightening, the them and us mentality, because it sows fear within the Muslim community, the irony being we are feared whilst we're very frightened ourselves. And of course, with people who don't know Muslims in their daily life, in their social interactions as neighbours, just seeing this one-sided view, understandably it causes a lot of fear and misunderstanding. And that, for me, is what's really worrying and really scary.
But this is entirely self-imposed. I mean, can you believe we've actually come to this? This woman is saying, a woman who is a subscriber to a religion that was founded on the principles of them and us, of in-out group thinking, that was founded on the idea that, right, you people, you're God's people, okay? That makes you better than everyone else. And your job is to go forth and convert, brainwash other people to think like you. But until that day, they are infidels. They're not worthy of God's love. And if in the process of converting them, you happen to chop off a few of their heads, rape some women, and kill some children, hey, that's all par for the course. That is the founding tenet of this person's faith, and she wants to stand there like a fucking idiot and blame everybody else for making her feel isolated and different. You can't be serious.
How do people in the Muslim community talk about ISIS? What place does it have in their lives?
Well, in most Muslims' life, they don't really play a role, except that they're being used to further corner Muslims and make them feel isolated and subjugated. It's almost like we have to apologize for the actions of ISIS, which has emerged out of the Iraq war, has nothing to do with us, has been funded by British allies like Saudi and Qatar, but Muslims have to apologize for something we have absolutely nothing to do with. And it just makes us feel sick to the bone that people can use Islam and hijack it in our name. But for some reason we're being questioned by the motives and the political aspirations of a group who are not in Britain. They're many miles away. Why?
apologise for ISIS? No. What, as if ISIS are some kind of misdemeanour? Look, you apologise for farting in an elevator. You don't apologise for ISIS. ISIS don't get to apologise for ISIS. Their lives are now forfeit, and we are hunting them down, like the rats that they are. But no fair-minded person would say, you bear culpability for the actions of ISIS, so get that fucking straw man out of here. What you should be apologising for, mate, is your obscurantism. For pretending like there isn't a problem with Islam in the UK today. 1,500 British Muslims went to fight for ISIS. So presumably they've got something to do with ISIS. 25% of British Muslims reportedly show sympathy for the Charlie Hebdo killings. So there might be a connection there, some would say. And so you should be apologising for trying to divert our attention from that reality. But while we're on the subject, actually, there's plenty of blame to go around in different doses depending on your particular version of religious insanity. So, for example, do you think that the Prophet Muhammad was the height of human morality and that people should follow in his footsteps? Because if you do, I've got news for you. You are an asshole. It would be like me promoting the cult of Hirohito or erecting churches in the name of Attila the Hun and poncing around the streets of the UK saying, oh, everybody should be emulating this man. He was God's messenger on earth, righteous and holy. So saith me, the moral asshole. Because that's what I would be if I did that. So, on closer inspection, some contrition may be required of you. While we're on the topic.
You're no Muslim, bruv. I mean, would you say that of ISIS?
Yeah, I mean, aside from the kind of nuances as who can say somebody belongs to a faith or not, but the sentiment of you don't speak for us, you don't act for us, and we totally reject you, yes, and that does capture what most people are feeling. And I think what was nice about that sentiment was that it was not only echoed within the Muslim community, but the wider community picked up on it, and that's how it trended. And for me, that symbolises how there is far, far more that unites people than what divides, and how heartening that is, and how small things like that can have a huge impact.
You notice how this woman's story just doesn't seem to stack up. I mean, we know she is a chair of an organisation that, despite being pro-Hamas and maybe ISIS just aren't her type of terrorist, whatever, they campaigned against the bombing of ISIS. So I think we can conclude from that although she's not pro-ISIS, because she says they don't represent her, that's fine, she's not exactly anti-ISIS either. Or at least not anti enough to fight them, to do anything about them, and what's more, she will criticise on national television people who do have the guts to stand up to jihadists. She sounds like a slippery snake to me. And just so you're all clear on my position on this, whenever I hear of an ISIS soldier being killed, I high-five myself. This is how I suggest you all should look when counting the bodies of ISIS soldiers decimated via Allied bombing.
2, 4, 7, 5, 7, 6, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7.
Of course, Birmingham has seen this before, hasn't it? But with a different community. Just tell me what happened.
Yeah, well, we're in Birmingham right now. The Irish community post the pub bombings by the IRA, they went through a similar feeling of being dehumanised, feeling demonised, that if you happen to be Irish, happen to have an Irish accent, you were automatically associated with terrorism. The Jewish community have been through this.
The Jewish community have been through this.
You know, anti-Semitism is nothing new, but in Europe in the 1930s and 40s, it was of an extreme nature, and they were all stereotypes. So I say to Muslims, look, don't take it personally. It's geopolitics.
Is it true that this city wasn't able to stage a St. Patrick's Day parade for how long?
It was almost 30 years before the community felt confidence to come out. So showing how we can internalise that demonisation, feeling that you're the other, feeling that you're not trusted, that can really have a huge impact. And for me, that is a huge concern. But at the same time, what I'm optimistic about is that we should learn from that. And Birmingham itself has got huge resilience and positivity.
So this is how we end, is it? with a sincere analogy being drawn between the way Muslims are currently treated in the UK, 2015, and the way the Jews were treated in mainland Europe during the 1930s. Whenever violence is carried out or incited against Muslims, or anybody else for that matter, in the UK, the perpetrators are roundly condemned and quite rightly thrown in jail, where they belong. Like I should even have to fucking argue this, it is one of the most insulting and disgraceful comparisons I could conjure. And don't you think this kind of talk does more to deepen the trench of in-out group mentality that she seemed so desperate to avoid earlier on? And to the smug-looking twat on her right, don't you think these kinds of disgusting lies do more to instill feelings of hatred and fear in the hearts and minds of young Muslims who live in the UK? Only asking. And to have come from a woman who is a member of a religion that is innately anti-Semitic, who chairs a section of an organisation with sympathetic ties to Hamas, an anti-Semitic driven terrorist group, and who has just spent her time campaigning against the bombing of jihadists in Syria, who themselves are spreading the banner of anti-Semitism across the Middle East. I think that's enough to make a cat laugh and choke on its fucking milk. I never want to see this woman again. I am speechless at this point. It is unbelievable, unbefucking-lievable the depths some people will go in the pursuit of a cheap point. This is what we're up against.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.